Hey, this is Butt Punch Bova. Thank you for tuning in and watching. So, what do we got here today? We have a bat house. The bats are brand new to the Twilight DLC pack, the Egyptian fruit bat. This is pretty exciting. But before we get into my thoughts on this bat exhibit, let me talk to you about the build we're doing. This is one of the speed builds that we're doing for the Franklin County Metropark Zoo. And I'm basing it off of the public market in Seattle. It's a huge building, long, very long, right there on the waterfront in Seattle. And I visited there over the summer to visit my sister. And well, to be honest, it's a beautiful building. It's a beautiful building, and it treated me so well. And I got in there, I got really inspired by the build there, so I wanted to make a similar idea for the lakefront of this zoo, where we have one big long building stretching out across there. Well, obviously this one isn't a very long building. This is just the back end of the zoo. So these buildings will be connected by a staff hallway. But for now, I just have this little bat house going on. And the inside of the bat house is inspired by the Flying Fox exhibit at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. They have a really fantastic zoo. It's one of the best in our country, America. And I just got really inspired by the architecture, the design. The overhead lights are really charming, and the bats are just kind of hanging out on their mesh wire, just flapping about. And what the keepers have done for that exhibit is they've placed these potted plants on the inside, so that they can rearrange and bring new enrichment out for the bats. So we're trying to emulate the idea of that exhibit. Not a one-for-one, but just kind of inspired by it. So I'm bringing the guests in here, and the game was bugging out pretty hard. I don't know if this has been fixed since I recorded this, but it looks like the guests are floating right over the path and entering the walkable exhibit, or they're walking over the floating area and interacting with the exhibit, which is fine. I mean, I remember when we got deep diving animals for the first time, and that pretty much broke our games for about a month. So if this is as bad as it gets, we're okay. But it was a little startling when the people were first coming in to see the bats, and they were just like walking over thin air just to engage with the habitat, or walk through the habitat to get onto the walkable path. That was a little odd for me. So hopefully that gets fixed pretty soon. Frontier is pretty good about fixing bugs, so I have to imagine they're very aware of this and they're getting on it. Yeah, so this zoo is based on a kind of a North American, Eastern, Midwest, kind of a Boston kind of feel, where we have all of the changing colors in our leaves in a fall setting. But I'm trying to be a bit more realistic with it. Not so much so that it hinders the idea. Like the backstage doesn't have to be entirely fleshed out for the keepers, but I kind of want the sense of it to be realistic, you know? Like that would be fantastic, as a style for the zoo. So now we're going to go ahead and drop in some foliage. There's a lot to play with in the Twilight pack. A lot of really spooky vibes, but I kind of wasn't want to go with that so much. I love the falling leaves. That's great. I think that the keepers would have brought them in there just to have bugs scurrying about that they can control, and in this controlled environment. But the plants that we're going to put into this are definitely going to be potted, right? They're going to be in planters. I'm thinking saplings, maybe some little bushes here and there that they can move around, so that it gives the bats a bit more enrichment and changes up their environment so much so, right? It's a bit hard to have a flying animal be brought into an enclosed space like this, so the more they can do to increase the enrichment and maybe shake things up for them every now and then, it's something that I wanted to put into my zoo here. For the rest of the exhibit, it was going to be more of an indoor, lush, tropical rainforest style. I looked at where the Egyptian fruit bat lives, where it originates, where it hangs out. And it looks like it's going around the coast of Africa and the Middle East. where there is more foliage, where there is more jungles, where there is more forests that they can operate in. And I kind of wanted to bring that out into the style of the building. So we're just trying to throw in some plants, kind of give off this more tropical vibe for the inside of there. You know, it's one of these things where I don't try to put tropical plants in the actual habitats of the zoo, but I want to bring them onto the inside because I feel like when the seasons are changing, these tropical plants are not going to do so well in a Midwest winter. I don't know about you guys, but you know, I live in the Midwest of America, and winters can get pretty bad. I think one time during February, we didn't get above 20 degrees for like an entire week. So I don't know about you, but a tropical plant would not make it. So next we're doing a bit of decal work on the side of the walls here. So this just helps break up the idea of a plain building, right? It's not so plain. Frontier did a great job of giving us a really good texture on these walls here, but I kind of wanted to break it up a little bit by having some paneling on the side. That can help just make it a bit more exciting to look at from a distance, you know? And this also kind of looks just like or at least emulates the idea that the public market in Seattle was kind of built around this nice desaturated green on the base and then white on top. This white plaster up here. Plaster is your best friend. If you're playing Planet Zoo long enough, you're gonna realize that plaster is one of your go-to keywords when you're searching things because it is a versatile piece. It's actually really easy to make an entire zoo out of plaster and just try to like move the colors around to suit your style. I'm trying to challenge myself a little bit, try to get away from plaster as much as I can, but it's just so formidable. It can get involved in any place it needs to, and it's a versatile piece. So we're just going to do the roof here, and while we're doing the roof, I just want to speak to the idea of the walkthrough exhibit. I think it's fantastic. I know there's this debate online right now about whether or not the animals should have been free-flying or if they should have been on a looped animation like we're seeing right now. And personally, since the animal is so small and you can just pack it full, I think they get like 35 bats can get in there. I don't see the bad part of a looped animation. I mean, the animations themselves are varied enough, and if you could really throw in 30 bats into there, then, I mean, you're never going to be able to trace one bat at a time, and you're never going to look in there and be like, oh, it's the same animation over and over and over again. I think it looks great, and honestly, if this is their first step to an aviary, I think we're in a good spot here. A lot of flying animals tend to have this little kind of a looped movement style that they do, and they have a couple perches that they like to do. I mean, if anybody experiences birds on a daily basis, they know that they like to sit in trees and perch on roosts and fly between those perches. So to have a free-flying animal in that such a small environment, or have them be that such a small animal, I imagine would be really difficult to animate or to place into this zoo. Now I know Frontier has been able to do that with the Jurassic World evolution to pterodactyls and flying reptiles that they have in there. You know, but those are large animals over a large area. We're looking at a small animal in a small area, right? So it's a lot easier for them to get by just having some looped animations. Now, I don't mean just, right? I don't want to make this seem simple, because I know it's very difficult to make a video game, right? But I can't imagine that this is easy for them to look at and operate in. Honestly, I can see this be great for more bats, or perhaps another aviary animal, maybe some parakeets, some canaries, some larger parrots, perhaps, maybe African jungle birds like toucans. I can absolutely see that, and have a walkthrough exhibit with that. That'd be fantastic. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments about that, because I know there's a great debate about it going on right now in the Planet Zoo community. So what's your opinion? How do you feel about it? Should they be free-flying? Should they really put in the effort to do so? I think that they nailed it in one with the bat, but I kind of want to hear what you guys think about this. Alright, now we're here. We're back here in the real-time section of the video. We're going to take a look at the bat house. Obviously to the left we have more of the public market style building, but we're going to have to get to that in one of the live streams. Hope you guys tune in for that. Let's take a look around here. It's great. I love the roof here. The roof's really fun, and you can see in through the top and over here on the back, kind of giving the bats a bit of like natural light that they can run through. You know, bats, we see them as nocturnal, but you know, it's just a sleeping pattern, right? And as long as they're okay to navigate around their environments, then they're really not so bad off. Now, some bats are very nocturnal. They have low eyesight and better hearing and better smell, but not the fruit bat. The fruit bat can absolutely be hanging out in the daylight. So I didn't feel too bad about having an open concept for their ceiling. All right, let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and get into our explore mode. Such a fun way to explore here. So let's go on in to the right side here. Awesome. Look at that. Now that's great. We have some keepers coming in here and taking a look at the bats, and we can see them flying around. Now you can really stuff these guys into there. There's about 35 bats you can place in here, so it makes their little animation loops look pretty stellar. But you guys can sit outside and watch them if you're not too crazy about going in. I wanted to give this a bit of an asymmetrical look to it, right? Or we can assume that sometimes the bats would hang upside down over here in this garden area. I mean, they won't do that. That's just not how they work, but it's kind of cool to see that happen. If we actually, let's just walk in. I love the lighting. The lighting is so great. In fact, let's go ahead and just move it a little bit so we can have some more. Oh, yeah, that's great. Love the shadows. The shadows are fun. If we can just walk on in. Yeah, here we go. There's a look on the inside here as the bats are all flying about. These big open windows coming over to the back of the lake. And they can't see the lake, but they can see this guy. They can see this guy and the birds moving over there. And the guests can come in. I'm going to bring in some sliding doors, I think, off camera, just to really nail home the realism part of this. But yeah, the guests can't really look over onto this end here. But if we were to walk over, we could see that the keepers can move around these potted plants and change up the environment. Actually, who knows what's going to be in here next. So we have the bats for now, but maybe Frontier will add in an aviary. Maybe the aviary is something that we'll bring in next. Or we'll keep the bats in here. You know, bats are great. Bat houses are a staple product of zoos, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep them in here. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm really happy with this build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's it for today. Tune in next time. Hang out. Come see the live streams where we're going to take a look at even more animals. And we're just going to sit here for a moment and think about all the cool things that we've done. Well, thanks again for watching. Be good, guys. Tune in next time and hang out in the live streams over on Twitch. I'm Butt Punch Bova, and you guys have been fantastic.